Hey everybody, it's Romania Black, and we are on volume 6 of Attack on Titan. And I'm back from a trip, and I have a lot of comments from everybody's reactions to volumes 1 through 5. I'm really excited that everybody's on board with me rereading through the manga. Real quick, before we go any further, and I'm going to be saying this on a lot of my videos for this channel, but I've noticed that lately there's been a lot of more spoilery comments come up, and I don't know if it's just my channel is growing and there's new people. That's a good thing, but please, I was going through volume 5 comments this morning, and I actually had, everybody on YouTube's been great. Y'all on YouTube have taken my words of caution seriously, and I thank you, but somebody on YouTube, someone on Patreon was like, oh hey, by the way, later on in future arcs, these things are cut, and I was like, please don't tell me that, no! So that breaks my heart, because I'm like, I feel like I say it so much, and I feel like I'm nagging and being the worst person, but please, don't spoil me. Like as an English teacher, I ask you all, as you comment, please proofread, and if you think, would Romania Black want to know this? Would this be telling her future things to come? Is she going to eventually read this and find out for herself? Or is this something that she would consider a spoiler? And if you're not sure about that, I have guidelines on the YouTube community post as well as Patreon that tell you what spoilers are to me. So please, don't spoil me. Like, my heart was broken with that comment because I was like, I don't want to know these things. And I stopped reading immediately and told that person, I was like, please don't do this. But I want to just put that out there. So please continue to not spoil me. Please proofread your comments. Like, I get joy from reading comments, but I'll be honest, and I don't want to stop reading comments. But maybe I'll need to for a while if that gives me more time. And if it gets to where it's making my mental health struggle, then I will. So that's all I'll say about it. So just please, just be considerate. So just be considerate. So that's all I'll say about it. So yeah. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, it's just something that's really made me upset lately. So I don't mean to get emotional. So sorry about that. But we have a lot of comments to go through. So that's all I'll say on that matter. That's it. All right. So anyway, I have a lot of comments for people that have been reading the manga reactions and have answered to them that I want to address before we start volume 6. Lord Cornelius Constantinople Springer, which is a great name, said Isayama said that the manga is meant to be more like a live performance, and then the anime is like the album edition, which that makes so much sense. It's like, and a lot of people are either one or the other. I've been reading comments where some people are like, well, I actually prefer the anime, and other people are like, oh, I prefer the manga. And I feel like it's kind of meant to be that way. Like Lord Cornelius states, it is meant to be like looking at a live performance versus an album edition. And a lot of people, some people don't like the live versions. They like that studio, like pristine, polished version that kind of is like the more, I feel like maybe the anime is like I don't want to say it's a final draft, but it's definitely a more polished draft, whereas the manga is really raw, and I like that about the manga. I like that it's raw and kind of Isayama's like original train of thought, and I know that he's worked with the studio from watching the anime. I know people have commented saying that Isayama has worked directly with the studio, so the end product is something Isayama approves, which I like, but I do think that like in volume 4, there were a lot of choices that are kind of apples and oranges. You either like them or you don't like them, or you prefer one over the other, which is fine. But I really liked that. I feel like the anime may have some superior moments. I will agree with that. But the manga is really special. And that's why I'm glad that I'm retreading through my experience with Attack on Titan. I'm glad I'm looking at the manga for that. So that's really good. Alexander Q has a couple comments on here, and they're all spread out because they're from different volumes. As I was on my trip, I was checking comments and doing that. The Mikasa tattoo being an embroidery in the anime versus a tattoo, Alexander Q said it could be tied culturally to Japan and girls having tattoos, especially young girls. I don't know if that's true or not. That was just something they pointed out. And then the idea of, did Grisha bring Eren to the house to meet Mikasa because of what Kruger said about Mikasa and Armin? Because I guess that depends on if Grisha knew Mikasa was the name of their daughter. If he knew that, then yeah, that's very likely that he brought Eren there to meet her. But then when things kind of went awry, he told Eren to wait at the base of the mountain and not to go in with him to see things, to find Mikasa. So there is a lot of give and take there of what actually was the motivation there for Grisha. So, I don't know. Alexander Q also said, I liked this comment of Grisha knowing what is to come for him, and him being terrified of what his son Eren will do, but he keeps moving forward and gives Eren the Titan Serum and keeps the chain of events going as it's supposed to go, supposedly. And so I love that idea, like how much of it was Eren's will, how much of it was the Attack Titan's will, and how much of it was Grisha's role as a father in wanting to see his son and the people that his son loves protected, and him going through with it despite knowing what he knows is going to happen. Like that, there's so many factors there, right? It's so complicated, and there's so many factors to it. Makes Grisha all the more interesting as a character, of his motivations and why he does the things that he does. And I feel like once we get later on down in the manga, we're going to touch back on that, especially when we get to the basement and everything in season 4 with the manga. I feel like we're going to touch back base on that. But just Grisha, like, how much of it was his will and how much of it wasn't is a question that we'll have to think of for the future. And then anime Alexander Q said that Annie sparring with Eren, there's a scene, a panel in that volume where she puts her hand over her nape. And some people reading it might think that's a weird moment, but later on when you find out she's, the female Titan, her naturally wanting to put her hand over her nape is just that instinctual sign of her protecting herself, and it will make it interesting when her and Eren fight each other later on. So yeah, CW says that Isayama initially had the story rejected by Shonen Jump. Originally, Attack on Titan was rejected by Shonen Jump, and so his editor convinced him to try to publish it in another offshoot manga from Shonen Jump, and that's why he rearranged the Tross scenes from the anime. I guess what CW was saying was that Isayama wanted to convey as much action as possible early on to get readers hooked and to make the action more streamlined, and then went back and put those scenes in as backstory once the manga was established. And that makes sense. It's so sad that Shonen Jump rejected it. It was really? But in all honesty, looking at what Shonen Jump publishes, Attack on Titan is a bit more dark and gory than some of the stuff that Shonen Jump puts out, especially for its target audience. So it being a seinen definitely makes more sense. Definitely, and I think that gave Isayama a lot more freedom because he was doing once a month chapters instead of the weekly chapters like Shonen Jump usually does. There are some, Seraph of the End is a monthly chapter in Shonen Jump, and there's a couple others that just release monthly. But for the most part, it's a weekly edition. And I don't think the manga, I think Isayama, knowing what we know from interviews and things like that, I feel like he would have gotten burnt out by that weekly formula, as a lot of manga artists do, and you can't blame them, right? So I'm glad that Isayama, that his editor pushed him to publish and had confidence in his work. That's really cool. I love that. Also, it's been noted, anime Alexander Q also had this added, that the anime adds some moments for character development, which is why Alexander Q was talking about how they like the anime more than the manga, which personal preference, totally understand, but said that the line, I was actually waiting for this, so I'm glad that you pointed this out. The line between Ian and Pixis, that Ian is worth his liquor, that's not in the manga, and Alexander Q was pointing out that line's not in the manga, it's anime only, but it gives more character development to Ian and makes us as the audience like Ian more, so that and honestly, the anime focuses more on Ian's death than the manga does, which makes sense because by that point you have that character development established, right? So I do like that the anime took time to give more development towards characters like Ian so that we, the audience, appreciate them, and their sacrifice to save Armin and Mikasa and the others and to help Eren has more weight. So I do appreciate that the anime does little things like that. That's good to know. Drunken Eldian and a couple others noted that originally Jean and Armin were meant to be one character. God, I'm glad Isayama split them up. Not that that's a bad thing. I love Armin and I love Jean, but they are so much better as distinct, realized, layered characters than they would have been as one person. So I'm like, oh my gosh, no. If Jean and Armin had been combined, that would have been so weird. So I'm glad Isayama got the notion to be like, oh no, I need to split these characters up. And it works so much better. Absolutely. Z says that Eren and Jean do make a truce in the anime. Thank you for pointing that out. I have not watched the anime since I reacted to it on this channel, so which has been a year or two at this point. And so I'm glad you there's gonna be things probably that happen in the anime that I have forgotten, and so I'm assuming there'll be comments like that. But thank you for that. And then Viper Leone Navarre talked about how Annie apologized to that body in volume 4, and it was likely Mina. I wondered about that in the reaction. I was like, is that Mina? Because you see kind of pigtails, but I didn't know for sure. But if it was Mina, that makes sense. And that would help explain why she felt so bad, which who knew Annie and Mina had a relationship? Who knew, right? It's the cadets as a whole, right? And then Fathalo Boy talks about the characters who, if they knew the price and what it was going to cost, wouldn't have paid the price, right? For the actions that happened. And he pointed out Jean at the funeral with Marco, Grisha at the wall with Kruger, Aaron talking to Falco and Marley. But honestly, I feel like Aaron's conversation with Falco isn't so much that he regrets and wouldn't pay the price if he knew it, just that you have to move forward. I feel like I disagree a little bit with that, because I think Aaron would have still paid the price, and he's known. So I don't know. I don't want to know much more about that, because I feel like it'll get into spoiler territory. So we're just going to put it out to the side. But I feel like with Grisha and Jean, absolutely, that they realized the price of what it was going to cost, and they kind of lament that. But they end up going through with it anyway. So I feel like that kind of goes that they know the price that they're going to have to pay, and that they shouldn't, a normal person would back away and wouldn't do that, but they move forward and keep going. So I don't know. We'll put a pin on that for now. I'm going to hide this toy so my dog doesn't bark the entire reaction, because they want me to play with him. So yeah, oh God, I've talked enough. So yeah, but there were a lot of comments for, while I was gone, for volumes 3, 4, and 5. And now we're on volume 6. So I'm really excited, y'all. I hope you all are too. Before we start, I want to give a quick shout out to people who support me. You all don't have to, but I'm really grateful that you do. Over on Patreon, I have 3 different tiers. One is just to vote for shows and series that I read and watch, and also to have access to the Discord to talk about these shows outside of the comments. And then the second tier is to be able to do that in addition to seeing things a week early than those on YouTube. So if you want to go ahead and read volume 7, you can go, if you're on YouTube and watching this video and you want to go ahead and read volume 7, you have access to do that through that tier. And then the final tier is the philanthropy tier, where people who are super kind, super supportive, and just all around amazing people that are helping me to pay for the streaming services that I use, to pay for the host sites that I use, and to pay for all of the different manga and anime, like this volume here that I've purchased and have, given support to the official release. You all help me do that. And so I really, really appreciate it. But these are our fellow philanthropy tier members. We have Edgar, we have Dana, we have Nameless Monster, we have Anime Annie, we have Truck, we have Tyrone, we have Arjo, we have Kenny, we have Shimoyama, as well as Be Happy, Translucent Men, Eric, and Sunspots. Thank you all so much for supporting me. I'm extremely grateful and can't thank you enough. All of my love. So yeah, I've diddle-daddled enough. It's been 15 minutes. We need to get started. So let's do that. We are going to start looking at volume 6 of the Attack on Titan manga. And we're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. I'm assuming this is Armin on the cover with the blood coming out of his head. I don't like seeing Armin in pain. I never want to see Armin in pain. So no. And then we have Reiner and Jean looking back in horror, and then Annie looming over them with the Titan. So that's fun. That's a fun time. Get that full screen there. Yeah. Oh yeah. The female Titan, the Titan Forest. Ooh, Bite and the Easy Path. Oh no. That means the Levi Squad and Crushing Blow are going to come next volume. Oh no. Oh man. And the character introductions continue. So we have Aaron, we have Levi, Captain of the Survey Corps, said to be the strongest human alive. We have Olo, Petra, the Levi Squad, Eld Jin, I forgot about Eld, and then Gunther, Erwin Smith, Zoe Hanji, Grisha's still here, Mikasa Ackerman, I like that they just have Levi. They don't say Levi Ackerman. I was spoiled on that before I even started the series. I remember the two characters I knew from Attack on Titan were Eren Yeager and Levi Ackerman. And I remember when I started the anime, everybody was like, oh, you already know Levi's last name. But I was like, what can you do? And then Armin, Arlert, Reiner, Bertolt. I like they both look freaked out. Jean, Connie, Sasha, Krista, Annie, and then Marco with the little X through him. No! No, he died during the Titan mop-up operation. That's such a bad name. The Titan mop-up operation. Sounds like a Muppet or something like that. It's how weird. No. And then Annie. I like that Annie is right next to Marco, which is fitting because she takes his equipment, as we find out. So that's a nice little nod to that for Warrior for later on. Fun times. Yeah, so Armin. Armin and Annie. Oh, no. Oh my gosh, look at that. Look at that. The female Titan. Oh my god. Oh, and Armin looking up. What is their goal? I like that Armin instantly makes it from an it's to a there, like acknowledging that it is human. That's fascinating because that's automatically setting up in that one line, because later Eren will acknowledge that everyone is animals and is subhuman, and that allows him to feel okay with killing them, right? When he activates the rumbling. But here you have Armin changing it from it's to there, instantly acknowledging the humanity and thus the equality of him to the Titans. So that difference in mindsets is just so subtly done, but just instantly there. Like, it's just, Isayama just puts it out there for us, the audience, and it's so good. Right? That horse had a huge old neck on it. I'm like, Isayama drawing these big long-necked horses with the big booties. Yeah, oh my god. Oh, this is one of my favorite scenes from this arc. The scene where Annie goes to lift the hood up to see who it is. It's one of my favorites. Oh my god, just that delicate little reveal. Oh, look at that. Oh my god, looking at him and realizing it's Armin. Oh, and the way that the panels are cut, that it's Annie's face. Oh my god, that it's Annie. Oh my god, I need to go back and rewatch my reaction. I don't remember at what point I realized it was Annie. I don't know if it was through this or what it was. I can't recall. I need to go back and see when I realized it was her. And then she keeps moving. Oh, and see, that's where Annie messed up. Annie messed up by checking to see that if it was Armin, and she didn't kill him. Because she had that attachment. She didn't kill him. She just knew he wasn't Eren and kept on moving. And so, it checked my face. And that's a mistake because Armin's the smart one. So Armin is able to figure out that it's looking for Eren by that movement. And then, okay, Reiner, can you stand? Okay. The one with the nice ass. What? Reiner, you know that's Annie. What? Saying Annie has a nice ass. Oh my god. If she heard you say that, she would have flipped you over and like beaten the shit out of you. Right? Oh. I like that Armin's rummaging through the horse's mane, like looking for the flare. Like, oh my god. Yep. And Jean's already fired one off. I like, again, we're finishing each other's sandwiches. Nice. Okay. All right, Titans show up, and I have no idea why. A bunch of abnormals. And of course, Reiner stays silent through all of this. Okay. It's a human in a Titan's body, someone with the same ability as Eren. Ah. And Reiner's like, well, what would make you think that? Why would you think that that was it? And then Armin's like, no, Titans just eat people. The goal isn't to murder us. It's just to eat. Like, I like that, yeah. And then Armin's like, but this Titan had a strategy. Yeah, it's not the same. She's looking for someone. And the person she's looking for is Aaron. And Reiner's just sitting there on the sidelines like, Annie, you should have killed him. Yeah. But Reiner doesn't know which flank that Aaron's on. And that's when they all realize that they put Aaron on, they gave everybody different copies of the map, that Erwin wanted to find out, like, who knows, who's going after Aaron. They wanted to know who, from which flank is the potential Titan coming from. Oh, I love it. I love it. And Reiner like, where the hell is Aaron? Like, oh my gosh. Amazing. Okay. So, and then Jean's like, we've got to figure out what to do now. We can worry about all that stuff later. And Jean's saying, we can draw its attention. The three of us can buy some time to give until the order to retreat is given. Somehow. I like his little tiny little, in the little bubble, like, somehow we can do this. We're going to risk our lives. Maybe. And I love the grim panel there of all three of them being like, yeah, we could do that. We could risk our lives to do that. Uh-huh. If she swats at us, we're going to be crushed. And, oh man, I forgot that Jean's like, oh, that's scary. Seriously, we're going to do this? But, and then Reiner's like, are you really Jean Kirstein? The Jean I know only thinks about himself. But Jean's like, yeah, I know. I should be really cowardly. I shouldn't be thinking about this. But he's like, I don't want to have to face the bones burned so bad that no one can identify them. Ah, yes, the bones, damn it. King Jean, the bones. I know it needs to be done right now. Oh, yeah. We tie back to that episode. Mm-hmm. So help me out here. And I like that Reiner looks the least like he wants to do this, but Armin's like, okay, let's go. We don't want her to see our faces, so she can't kill us if she can't see us. And Reiner's like, okay, she won't murder anybody that could be Aaron. Let's hope her eyesight is bad. I just like, oh God, knowing what we know after this. Okay, Armin, I've always been creeped out by the way you fawn over Aaron, but I always thought you were a capable guy. And Armin, thanks, but creeped out is pretty harsh. Oh. And Reiner's like, Jean really is different. That, God, Isayama, all I can think about is Forest as the Night of the End, where Jean and Reiner have that moment. And knowing that Reiner's always kind of thought about this about Jean from the beginning, that adds a lot to it. That adds a lot to that. Mm-hmm. Do what I tell you. And Jean becomes a leader. I love it. I love whenever Jean and Armin they sort of trade spots in being a leader. I like that. And Reiner for being the hero of Marley and for being heroic in many instances, Reiner is not a leader. And we established that in that flashback way later on with Annie and Reiner and Bertolt, that Reiner wants to be a leader, but he's not very good at it. It's kind of like Aaron. Aaron and Reiner are the same. They both suck at being leaders. They're not good at it. And so they're not good at being leaders. And they kind of are better off sometimes as lone wolves. I take that back. Reiner maybe proves later on when he's strategizing with the warriors that Reiner can be a leader. But at this point, from what we've seen from the flashback and leading up to this point, Reiner's not the best leader. Like, he has moments where he can be. Same with Aaron. But they're just not overall meant to be in that position, which is really interesting. All right. And so we get all this dialogue here of making the plan and Jean being like, here's what we have to do. We can't be reckless. And he's like, she knows well that her weakness is the nape of the neck. She's different from other Titans. Killing her is beyond our capabilities. That's what my common sense tells me. And then he thinks of Levi and Mikasa being like, but they could probably do it. So is it really outside the realm of possibility? Oh my gosh, Isayama, the action of these panels. I love the line work. I love the line work of her foot like skidding across the ground and the way that he draws like the way that the land is moving and the skid there, like that movement is so good. It's really well done. Oh, the poor damn horse! No! Not the horse. The Isayama, it's like not since the Never-Ending Story has a trauma against horses been so visceral, right? God, the horse just... Yeah, oh man. Poor Armin. And then that's where he has the blood come up there. And Annie's like, oh yeah, you're still here. Probably should have killed you back then since you're so persistent. And then Jean, the way she moves more precisely than any regular Titan. There's a human manipulating a Titan's body. I should have known. Oh, Jean, sweetheart. I was so worried about him. Yeah, she's protecting the nape. Doesn't want that to be an issue. And then that's when Reiner is about to step in, right? Okay. And then, and then this is the point where Armin lies and tells where Eren is. That suicidal bastard on the right flank. He's dead. You have to avenge him because she killed him. Oh, man. Armin's face when he gets serious like that and is putting on that show. Oh, man. To make her pause. Like she's trying to figure out, wait, is Eren dead? Wait, what's happening? What's going on? I saw him sticking to the bottom of her foot. Ooh. And Annie's trying to be like, is Armin? Because Armin wouldn't lie, right? Armin's never been one to lie. So why would he? So giving Annie that hesitation and being like, wait, what is this true? Is this not true? What's happening? And Jean going in there being distracted. But no! Then Reiner comes in and she grabs him. Ah! And that look. Oh, man. Okay, so in the anime, I was like, what the hell is happening? He's like sticking out from her pretty hard there. Oh my God. And then she just pops. But he manages to get out, right? He cuts through with the blades. Oh, okay. And she's looking at the hand that he's carved the message on, right? Uh-huh. As he chops the fingers off. And Armin's like, wait, how'd you get out? How are you not dead? What's going on? And she's looking at the hand. And then Mika says, strong, I've forgotten Reiner's better by far than the rest of us. Okay, yeah, because wasn't Reiner the strongest? He was number 1, wasn't he? And Mikasa was number 2? I think that's right. Look at that big bitch! Ah! Reiner's like, says she's a nice ass and then calls her a bitch. I'm like, no wonder she beat the tar out of you. No wonder! Reiner, you had it coming. The rear center is that direction, and that's where Eren is. And it's all making sense now. Reiner told her where to go. Dang it. Okay, and so yeast. Yeah, didn't we get information about yeast? Interesting. Okay, and then we have Jean doing the horse whistle. As Reiner's head looks really unnaturally big there. Not to make fun of Isayama, he looks a little bobbleheadish in that moment. And then Jean like calling them forth. And then I like that Armin is thinking about Annie and what to do and what the whole deal with the female Titan is. He's trying to figure this out even as Reiner is like fixing, like bandaging his head. Okay, so then he's like, Reiner's horse came back. Why hasn't mine? We can't afford to stay here any longer. And he's like, who's going to get on what horse? The horse would probably have a hard time carrying 2 of us. Should I take off on foot and search my own horse? Yeah, I like that Jean, like, as he's just whistling, is thinking of all these things. Oh, man. Armin looking at that face, being like, where have I seen it before? Ah! Yes, think I'm out of it. And then, like, what are we going to do? Who's going to get what horse? And then I like that they're like, wait a minute, there's a flare. Somebody's coming this way. This is, yeah, Krista! Yes, with the horse. Oh my gosh. You ran all the way over here. Yep. Okay. Oh yeah, okay, I was like, I hope they don't cut out that part where they're like, yeah, Armin says, God, a goddess, I want to marry her. Which is funny, because it's Krista. It's, you know, the descendant of Ymir. Funny that. Yeah, and they're just staring at her. I love it. I love that Armin chooses just God in general, and Jean says goddess, and then Reiner just wants to marry her. Poor Reiner. I like the alternate universe where they're the jock and the cheerleader. Good times. But yeah, so them going, things are worse here than we imagined. The formation just changed course. So yeah, I like this idea Reiner puts out there that all soldiers have the right to decide whether continuing the mission is impossible. But don't tell me the commander's squad hasn't seen the flares. And then Armin says they don't know. Even if they don't know, it's obvious what we have to do. We have to follow orders. So again, that is a fundamental difference between Eren and Armin, is that Armin has faith. Armin has faith in the process and faith in the leadership that is commanding them. He has faith in Erwin and Levi and the others. And Armin's not afraid to follow that faith because, and the thing of it is, Armin, it's not blind faith. Armin is following Erwin being like, yes, we have to do what we have to do to survive. And we can make judgment calls based on when the time comes, based on the situation. But we need to stick with the overall plan and the team. And Reiner was suggesting like going solo, and Armin's like, no. We follow the orders. We follow what was given to us because we trust the leadership at hand. Eren does not trust the leadership. And Eren's whole squabble with the Levi squad that I'm assuming is coming up is the idea that he has his own instinctual judgment of what to do, and it's different than the leadership. And so he's trying to decide what do I go with? Do I follow these people that I don't really... Eren doesn't have the faith. Eren doesn't have the faith in the others. He thinks they're going to get killed. He doesn't have the faith that Armin does. And Levi's like, well, you just got to choose what you're going to regret least and go with it. And in the early part with Levi's squad, Eren does not do that. He doesn't choose the path of least regret. He decides to go with something he doesn't have faith in. So I guess it's not that Armin is not wrong for following orders because he has faith in the leadership and he's able to apply himself alongside that. And Eren's not necessarily wrong for questioning something that he feels isn't right. It's just interesting how these two characters who are best friends have such different views about the situation and have such different faiths or lack of faith in the leadership they've been placed within. So that's interesting. Very much so. And then we cut back to Levi and the others. As soon as the moment we go from Armin saying follow orders, we cut to Levi and Eren, and the whole challenge he's going to have to face is, does he follow orders or not? So, Isayama, it's like you're a storyteller or something. Like, you know what you're doing. Look at that. Oh, you fired. Uh-huh. And so Eren's wondering, everything's going smoothly, but what's the real situation? Uh-huh. Okay. The right flank. That's where Armin is. The Titan couldn't have gotten that far in. So Eren's trying to tell himself that they're okay. And then black flares. Okay. What a mess. Yeah, Levi doesn't like messes. No. Are people battling it? And of course, Eren's thinking like below that flare, like I could go and help them, right? Oh my God. These double spreads are great. I love these. Okay, so yeah, this is the scene where Annie takes a hold of they're like, you monster. Where she takes, is this the part where, okay, no, there's Armin. Okay. Oh, ha. Right? Am I right? Oh, no, I guess no, that guy looked like Armin, but it's not. I was like, is something different about to happen? But no, they're attacking from 3 places at once. And then, nope, just knocks him down, right? Yeah, no, she jumped, and then that was it. That one character with the floofy hair looked a little bit like Armin. And then, oh, that smile. And it's kind of weird because the smile is sort of inherently there. And then, yeah. Okay, this is the part a lot of people get upset with Annie about, that she does this twirly thing with the person, that she's not just killing someone just for the sake of they attacked me, it's self-defense, that she took seemingly joy in killing that person and flinging them around. I think a lot of people take umbrage with Annie because of this moment. I was always kind of, I don't know, I don't want to use the word indifferent, but this moment didn't ever affect my views of Annie. And I think that they set the scene up. They set the scene up being like, these guys were saying like, oh, we have to kill this monster, even though it's a human. And so to me, it always felt like Annie saying, well, fine, you want me to be a monster? I'll be a monster. Like one of those moments, which Aaron does the same thing later on where he's like, oh, you want me to be a monster? Fine, I am one. And Aaron is, I feel like Aaron and Annie, talking about how similar they are, these early on volumes, Aaron and Annie are both convinced that they are monsters, that they're horrible people. That's one of the reasons why Annie comes to Armin and is like, am I a good person? I don't think I'm a good person. I think I'm a monster. I've done horrible things. Do you think I'm redeemable? That's kind of the big thing that Annie asks Armin early on back in Smile, and which we'll get to here in a few volumes. But I feel like Aaron thinks the exact same way. He doesn't think, he believes, like during Brave Volunteers, he's like, we're monsters. Like he's fully convinced of it. So this moment here, it never bothered me too much as a reader because the mindset Annie is in right now is that, yeah, I'm a bad person. And I hate it, but I've come to terms with it, and fine, you want me to be a monster, fine. It's like the only action that she does. So I don't know that would warrant that kind of disdain. I feel so I don't know if Isiama was just trying to be cool with it and didn't have any like character impact he was thinking of when doing it. But then Isiama takes so much into consideration with his characters that you wonder like, is that even possible? So I don't know. It's an interesting moment, right? That, yeah. We have to report and tell him about this monster. And then she just punts, like field goals that guy and that poor horse. And then, God, you see the horse just go whoop like that. You just see the horse and the guy go flying. Oh my God, Isiama. The horse death in this volume is just absolutely just devastating. So, okay, the right flank's been annihilated. We're still not turning back. Okay, and we just get like an update. We get an update from each of the flanks of what's going on as they hear. The Titan Forest. Okay. There's no vegetation growing on the path. We should be able to get through. And there's like, I like the detail. I like the small detail that like the little, like the roof and some of the little banisters have been destroyed. Like there's just little bitty hints of the Titans being there. That's interesting. Like they established these little forts and there's still like little bits of destruction there. Oh, wow. Ooh, the forest there is so creepy and it looks like faces. Like, you know, if you ever see a tree that looks like it has a face in it and it's kind of freaky, like these all look like just like eyes or mouths. Like the trees look like the trees have eyes. Like that's so creepy. Dang. Ooh. Yeah, the forest of the giant trees. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we go back to Mikasa and all them. There is no formation. The right and left flanks have been ordered to stay out of the forest. All we can do is go around. Okay. Did he read the map? Connie, I don't think Erwin read the map wrong. No. We're pushed in this direction, trying to avoid the Titan threat on our right flank, perhaps. And then Levi and them go straight in the middle. I like that Levi's like, stop whining about the obvious! Yeah, of course we can't do any of that. And Aaron's like, what are you talking about? He's like, the overgrown trees are the perfect environment for vertical maneuvering gear. Levi's like, use your brain, Aaron. Think about this. Now think. Use the modest intellect you do possess. Think hard. Your life depends on it. Levi, I just imagine Levi as a, what course subject would Levi teach? He would probably teach like, Levi would not teach philosophy, I don't think. I think he'd get too angry with it. I feel like Levi would teach math. Levi would be a math teacher. He'd be a mathematics teacher. And I could just picture him at the dry erase board being like, use the modest intellect you possess to figure this out. Maybe physics. Levi maybe would be a physics instructor. Maybe we go with that, but that's so bad. And Aaron's like, I see, I'm still a raw recruit, so I haven't been able to process the situation. Aaron thinks so little of himself, which is a sign of how little Aaron thinks of himself. He won't just give me the answer because I need to learn on my own. Yes, Aaron, he is trying to push you out of the nest, for sure. And then, oh my God, Olo's. But no one knows. No one gets what's going on here. So that's the moment that Aaron starts to question Like, Aaron has assumed that, oh, it's just because I'm young and inexperienced that the people that are older than me, they know what's up. But then when he looks around and sees that, no, the Levi squad doesn't really know what's going on. They're scared too. But Aaron takes that as such a bad thing. He takes that as, oh, well, these people don't know either. Maybe Levi doesn't know. Like, Aaron immediately goes to the worst case scenario instead of, like, Armin is a glass half full kind of person. Aaron is like a glass majorly half empty, could possibly be empty. Maybe it wasn't a glass to begin with, like, kind of person. And that's it's so frustrating watching at this point, because it's like, no, Aaron, just, it's okay if people don't know what's going on. It's fine. That's part of life. Like, you figure things out. You can kind of, sometimes you have to go as you go and just use your gut instinct. And Aaron questioning everything, it gets so frustrating. And then there's the female Titan. Honestly, the anime does it so well, but I love that shot of Annie just, like, going through, dang it. And that person just, you can feel that person, like, bouncing off the ground. That's rough. The Titan Forest. I like that. I now feel so thankful that they took this information from the manga, the currently publicly available information, and made them into those little intermission cards. I really appreciate that, because now it makes so much sense, right? The trees are about 80 meters tall, or 260 feet. Nice. They were used to protect themselves from Titans while on expeditions outside the wall. And so Jean, they have the horses tied to the trees. And Jean is like, we're leisurely taking a side trip to this touring spot. Oh, yeah, this is the conversation between him and Armin. Yes. Stopping any Titans that enter the forest. That guy gives out some screwy orders. He can hear you. Is that Niall? Is that him? And I like that. So here's the thing. Aaron's freaking out because he has realized that everybody is just as scared as he is and may not know what to do. And then immediately following that, it's like Isayama presents a situation with a character where they feel a certain way, and then follows it up with a different character dealing with a very similar situation, but responding in a different manner, right? So you had Aaron freaking out because he doesn't feel confident that the people he's around know what they're doing, which they don't, but he doesn't feel confident that they're going to be able to protect themselves. Meanwhile, we cut back to Armin and Jean, who are talking about this guy. They're like, oh, he seems to be calm, but there's no way that he is. And so he's like, I hear some commanders in extreme situations get judged incompetent by their subordinates and die of mysterious wounds to the back. Happens all the time. Like Jean is suggesting that people get freaked out and they don't trust the leadership placed in front of them, and so they take things into their own hands and end up, like, creating a mutiny, right? And Armin's like, are you planning a mutiny? And Jean's like, I'm just pissed off. Don't listen to me. He's like, what am I going to do? Follow orders? Keep Titans out of the forest? Do you think that's what we should do too, right? He's like, that knowing look on your face. And yeah, and so Jean's like, are you questioning whether or not this is the right decision too? And Armin just has that look like, yeah, of course I'm questioning it, but he's like, we have to think about all these different factors. Like, Armin is trying to set up the 4D chessboard right now. And Jean's questioning whether they should be playing chess or checkers, you know. And God, our orders are to keep them out of the forest, right? So nobody said we had to engage them. Am I right? And then Bertolt just standing there. Bertolt just looks so scared, and Reiner's like, So yeah, they're just that, and that's the thing. Armin's like, look, we're just supposed to keep them away from the forest by drawing their attention here and not to following Aaron. So we don't have to fight them. We just have to keep their attention drawn while they get through the forest. Meanwhile, Annie is after Aaron and them. Yeah. God, I just love that Isayama is having so much fun drawing Annie as the female Titan. And, like, the movement of this volume is so good. I love it. I just love the movement and how much we see going, like, from page to page. Like, just the line work and everything is so well done. Oh my God. I love the detail of the eyes, like, and Annie looking at Aaron, which honestly, you know, going back through this, I originally, when I started this series, was kind of shipping Annie and Aaron a little bit, and then everybody was like, no. I was like, come on, let me have fun. And I still kind of do in a little bit. I definitely ship Annie more with Armin, for sure. Like, Annie and Armin are my ship. For various reasons, not just the fact that Bertolt is inside of Armin. That's not only the thing, but for many reasons that we'll probably discuss as we go back through the manga. But there was a time when I really like Annie and Aaron's relationship, because I feel like Annie and Aaron are very similar people in a lot of ways. And so you can kind of make the argument that if you ship Aaron and Armin, then you can kind of see why you would ship Armin and Annie, because Annie and Aaron are similar. So it kind of creates this triangle, this weird pseudo love triangle of Armin, Annie, and Aaron that I've kind of mulled around with while watching this series. But yeah, it's like the enemies to lovers sort of scenario, right? And so like, it's gonna catch us, and Levi's like, we could switch to vertical maneuvering, let's do that. And then the reinforcements come in, and they try to like get her, but she ends up killing them. Ends up smashing them against the tree. Oof. And then Aaron just looking freaked out, and Levi looking like, he's like, yep, that was possibly gonna happen. He's like, that thing is dangerous. And then they're all talking about stopping her, and Aaron's like, you're a fool. You've stepped into hell. You're chasing after a group of expert titans. Oh, yeah. Aaron is calling Annie the fool. But Levi keeps on going forward without going to attack her. And Aaron's face of just being like, why? Because Aaron was like ready to go. He's like, let's go attack her now. And Levi's like, no, we've got a plan. He's like, give us your orders. Everyone cover your ears. Oh man, okay. So the anime cut the episode off like right before that whistle, that screeching whistle, right before he told them to cover their ears. The anime made that a cliffhanger. The anime, they were like, Captain Levi, what are we gonna do? And it was like, dun dun dun, you'll find out next week. And it's like, no. Oh, okay. That was not a cliffhanger at all in this. It just cuts right to it. I wonder how anime watchers felt about that. I bet they were like, damn it. This isn't a big cliffhanger like you think it is. And the anime onlys, we were freaking out. And a sound grenade. What's your job? To give in to whatever you happen to feel? I don't think so. No, the squad's mission is to keep that little shit from getting so much as a scratch or die trying. Oh, and Aaron's saying, I thought their assignment was to monitor me. So then, yeah, we add to Aaron's guilt that he thought they were just there to watch over him, but Levi is suggesting that it's their job to protect him at all costs. And so, man, that really feeds into Aaron later on, being like, I don't want anyone to feel like they have to protect me. I don't want anybody to die trying to protect me. Which explains why he wants to push everyone away from him, right? Because he doesn't want anyone to die for his sake. Which, again, adds a blow to his own self-worth. And then the irony of all ironies is that Aaron, in pushing people away, ends up attracting Armin and the others to going after to stop him. So I'm like, Aaron, that didn't work. You didn't succeed in that regard. And then Aaron, if we don't hurry, they'll be crushed too. And Gunther's telling him to keep going. Who can stop that thing other than the Levi squad? We could have saved him. And Aaron's just freaking out. Right? If we go now, we can help him. And they're telling him to keep moving forward. And Aaron's like, are you telling me to look away from the battle? Leave our comrades to die? And Petra's like, yes, that's the captain's orders. And Aaron's like, why are we leaving them behind? Why will nobody explain the reason? And Olo's like, because there is a reason, we just don't need to know it yet. He's still fighting alone. He's like, I could fight on my own. Why am I always turning to other people for help? I should fight myself. Yeah, that's just, what's so frustrating about this series is that I feel like in Armin's case, he's given many situations where having faith in those in leadership positions and having faith in the system, I feel like Armin has seen the positives of that in action. He's seen how it can work, and that's helped him keep faith. Whereas Aaron has seen it at its worst, and Aaron has become very disillusioned by that. And so when Aaron says, why am I turning to other people for help? I should fight myself. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It's good that Aaron decides that he should fight his own battles and he should make decisions, #no regrets. But this just goes to cement that moment that Aaron realizes later on, like when Aaron goes off on his own and goes lone wolf. Makes sense, because everything that happens at this point in the story, it's cemented into Aaron how leadership can fail and the downsides of it. And Aaron, who is a pessimistic person already, just takes it to the worst extreme. And it's like you just want to tell Aaron, like, you gotta have faith. Like, you just want to sing the song to him, and he's like, nope, not listening. But, that's so frustrating. He's like, that's only allowed when your life is in danger. You promised. And Levi, he says, Aaron, you're not wrong. If you want to do it, go ahead. He's a monster. It has nothing to do with Titan power. No matter how much he's held back, no matter what cage he's in, no one can force him to submit. And that's kind of like Levi's like, no, Aaron's a monster and that he's never going to listen to anyone else. But it's so frustrating, because on the one hand, that could be such a positive in that you're not going to submit to someone or obey someone. You are your own person. You're independent and you're self-sufficient. Like, that's in so many ways, that's such a positive, but so many times that's like the idea that you just won't listen to anyone. Then it becomes such a hindrance to Aaron. And Levi's like, you know what? You want to go ahead and do it? Like, I can't stop you. The difference between our judgment and yours is experience. But you don't have to fall back on that. Choose, believe in yourself, or believe in them and me, the Survey Corps. I don't know the answer. I never have. Whether you trust in your own strength or trust in the choices made by reliable comrades, no one knows what the outcome will be. So, as much as you can, choose whatever you'll regret the least. Yeah, so Levi's like, look, you can, he's like, we have experience. Here's why you should maybe trust us, but you don't have to fall back on that. You choose. You can believe in me and the Survey Corps or yourself. And the thing about it is, the one thing about that, and I wonder as we go on in the series, and we'll examine Levi closer, is does Levi think that was a good choice, or does Levi, because Levi presents things as kind of an absolute of it's this or that. You can believe in yourself, or you can believe in the people around you. And it's almost like I wonder later on, because I remember distinctly that in the anime that as we get closer to season 4, there's a couple moments where Levi sort of has this like introspection of, did I say the right thing? And I think that choosing the path of least regrets is the right decision. But I think that Levi presenting to Aaron, who is a very black and white individual who views things in very absolute terms, the thing of it is, Levi is someone that Aaron respects so much. Aaron respects Levi so much and takes what Levi says to heart. And for Levi to present Aaron with a very black and white scenario, you believe in yourself or you believe in us and them, you just choose whatever will give you the least regrets. I always wonder, and I don't want to know necessarily the answer to this because we'll go through it later on in the manga, but I always wondered if Levi maybe was like, maybe I should have presented a third option. Because I feel like there is a third option, right? I feel like it's not just a matter of believing in yourself or others. I feel like Armin, one of the things he has to come to terms with as we go into the end of season 4, part 2, is that Armin gets to the point where he has to have faith in himself, but also believe in others around him that he's going to be able to work with them and it will be okay. And there's going to be stuff outside of their control that they can't stop and they can't, control necessarily, but that they can all work together while still having faith in their own judgment. I feel like Armin and the others start to get to that point by the end of season 4, part 2, whereas Aaron has gone all in on the I'm believing in myself. Everybody else, nope, bye. And I feel like that's such a dangerous thing. And it is a dangerous thing. It becomes that, right? It becomes the rumbling. And I always wondered if Levi was like, maybe I should have put a third option in there. Maybe I shouldn't have made this so absolute, especially with someone whose entire mindset is in a very black or white scenario. I don't know. And then Petra says to trust us. I thought of a way to stop you just short of killing you. Oh, Ooh, and we're going back to this, aren't we? We're going back to this. Yeah. Okay, bite. Yep. The only way to stop you in your Titan form is to kill you. But this would just leave you badly wounded. We would have to cut the meat of your Titan neck with you inside of it. We'd cut off your hands and feet, and they'd grow back anyway, like a lopped off lizard's tail. Disgusting! I like Levi's like, disgusting. Aaron's like, wait a minute. I don't know how or why they grow back, but isn't there another way? And Levi's saying, are you telling me you don't want to take any risks or make sacrifices? Then get over it. We have as much of a chance of getting killed in the process as you do, so relax. That's, yeah. But again, that idea of someone else taking control from Aaron is something he absolutely doesn't like, right? I can run an experiment, can I? I like the Hanji's back there being like, can't I experiment, please? Like, she's just sitting there the whole time. Yeah, it's a big risk. All right, and then the well scene. Yep. This dried up well. Okay, if I go berserk again, Squad Levi might kill me. Oh, yeah, this part. Oof. We're not dealing with the most reliable guy. Oh. Oh, God, like Aaron's just hands bleeding because he's tried to bite so much. Yep, they're not closing up. So the idea that the self-inflicted bites aren't closing up. If you can't turn a Titan, the mission to rebuild Wall Maria goes down the drain. So do something about it. I like that. Levi is pretty, like Levi's just like, figure it out. Like, just so harsh. Oh, and Petra coming after him being like, Levi, don't be so harsh on him. I like that Levi's just like drinking the cup thing. Like, no. I like that he holds the teacup the same way as any cup. It's great. All right. You're more human than I thought. And Aaron realizing they haven't lost hope yet. Because, like, they don't want to change this. What did he say there? He says, if I can't turn into a Titan, we're all in big trouble. It's like they don't want to change the status quo. Yeah, which is that's an interesting thing, too. Because one of Aaron's biggest frustrations later on is the fact that things aren't changing, that he's not being able to enact change to make the situation better. And I wonder if he goes back to this moment too. Oh, that's a good shot of Levi with the cup and Petra. Oh, that's a great shot. I actually love that. And then, oh. And then Aaron with the arm. And like, oh, and the partial body. And everyone was like going to attack him. And Levi told them all to calm down. Oof. Oh, okay. And then, Hanji's like, woo, we did it! I love their eyes are so sparkly and anime. Hanji has such anime eyes in that moment. Oh my gosh. Oh. That's such a beautiful panel of Hanji. I love that. The easy path. Okay. Oh, Levi. Yeah, it's a lot smaller in the manga than it is in the anime. What is that? Why without permission? And Aaron's like, I don't know why this happened. And he's like, prove you're not an enemy. And Levi's like, calm down. That's what my gut tells me. They all freak out though. It is so unsettling. It is so unsettling that the Levi squad, who were so fine with him 2 seconds ago, like, and he's not even a full Titan, he's just like a little hunk of meat there, that they freak out so much. And then I love Hanji just pushes him out of the way, and Hanji's like, no, let me touch the arm, please, can I touch it? Can I touch it? God, no. But like the... oh, and Hanji's like, it's so hot. Oh my God. With that skin on, he's really, really hot. Oh my God. Moblet's like, what are you doing? I love that the Levi squad, with the exception of Levi, were so paranoid and judging of Eren in that moment, and Hanji just shoves them aside and is like, no! Hanji has that trust in Eren. Hanji and Levi both have that trust in him. Ah, oh, that's something else. Eren, aren't you hot? Oh my gosh. And then he goes to pull it out. And then, yep, we find out that it was touching the tiny spoon. Like grabbing it in its hand. Yep. And then Levi's like, how do you feel? Not so good. I love that Levi, for as hard of an exterior as he has, he reminds us in little moments like this that he does care about Eren and the others. Like Levi has a good heart and he cares. He just has such a tough exterior to kind of mask that, right? And then, oh, I love this. I love Eren sitting next to Levi. Like, he looks so short next to Levi, which is funny because Levi's like 5'2". How much they don't trust me. He's like, that's why I chose them, because they don't trust you. He's like, Petra, 10 kills. Ulo, 39 kills. Eld, 14. Gunther, 7. Come back home alive and you're a full-fledged member. Those people have lived through enough hell again and again. They've learned how to live. He's like, you have to be quick to act and make tough decisions in the worst case scenarios. But that doesn't mean they don't have a heart. Even when they had the weapons pointed at you, they had strong feelings. But they have no regrets. Yeah, they do things and they don't regret it. I will never get over that Eren just follows Levi and he's like, let's go. And he's like, oh, yes, sir. Like, the fact that Eren, and I don't know when that change will be at season 4, but that just the idea that Eren has always viewed Levi from a command of respect. And it's something in the last part, like in season 4, part 3, that I'm wondering if Eren will even see Levi again. I don't know, because Levi's kind of injured, so I'm like, I don't know if that would be a good thing, if Eren will even interact with Levi ever again in this series. I don't know, past season 4, part 2. Honestly, Eren and Levi, after season 3, with the exception of on the airship with Sasha, have not interacted really since then. Which is so bizarre, because Eren, like, looks up to Levi so much. I feel like that's going to be something to keep track of as we go throughout this manga. And then, what were you taking a long shit? Oh my God. How'd you know that went smoothly? Oh my God. I love their banter. Levi and Hanji's banter is perfect. A teaspoon. You were holding it between your thumb and index finger. It retained its shape despite the heat given off. I went to pick it up. To kill other titans, to protect against cannon fire, to lift a rock. There was an objective you had before you changed. Harming yourself alone isn't what triggered it. It won't work unless you have some sort of goal. Why'd I transform to pick up a spoon? And then Hanji's trying to figure out everything, like trying to reason through it all. You didn't mean to act without permission. And then they all bite their hand to make up for it. Yeah. Our way of paying for it. It's our job to keep you in check. You must be disappointed as to being afraid and acting like fools. One person can't do much alone. That's why we act as a group, and we count on you, and I hope you'll count on us too. Trust in us. And God, it's meant to be such like a shonen moment of, oh, you trust in us, and then everything will be right as rain. And for the moment, it seems like that's the case. And then later on, it's like, nope. That wasn't enough. Isayama's like, this ain't gonna be a sunshine and rainbow shonen. Nuh-uh. But, and he sees the bite mark. And Levi's like, choose now. There's no time. And Eren says, I'll keep going. The guy gets smashed against the tree and dies. Let's go. And the look on Levi's face, I think Levi expected him to turn. And maybe he should have. I don't know. He said, I'm sorry. And at that moment, I think Levi is maybe not sad. I think Levi's like, whatever, you chose this. But I think even Levi knows that Eren was hesitant. And that maybe wasn't what Eren had wanted to choose. He just thought that's what he needed to choose. So, because when he says he's sorry, there's that guilt there, right? And Levi, I think if Eren had truly not regretted or had truly been committed, he would have like steeled his resolve rather than seeming guilty about it. So I think Levi has always known that Eren didn't make that choice because it was truly what he believed in, but what he thought he should believe in. And those are two separate things. And then he's like, even though everybody chooses to keep going, and Levi's looking straight ahead. He's like, he's moving forward. So what do we do? Why did I choose this? I might have been able to save them. I left them to die. And then Eren's saying, that's it. It's because he wanted to believe in them. Yeah, he's like, something new to rely on, something to believe in him, like I did when I was with them, with Mikasa and Armin. I'm sick of being treated like a monster. I've had enough of being shunned. So I just wanted to think that I should believe in my comrades because it's easier that way. But that's such a... God, that's so frustrating because I'm like, you say it's easier path, but I'm like, it's so frustrating because on the one hand, you're like, yeah, Eren should believe in himself. And and sometimes it is harder to go with your gut when you know when you know the dangers of it. But I don't want, it's like, I never wanted Eren to view the decision to believe in people as being something that was easy and thus bad. And I think Eren starts to believe that. He starts to believe that trusting in others will only lead to bad things happening. And that's not true. And it's just so frustrating, right? And then, yeah. And then that's when everybody like springs up on Annie. Yep. From the forest. Mm-hmm. And then, Erwin! Fire! Yes! Oh my God. Erwin has like the best big-mouthed expressions. It's amazing. Oh my God. That's amazing. I love it. I love it. Oh man. And fire. Yep. Oh, I love it. And then all the threads, everything. Ah, yes. Yep. And Levi's like, okay, we made it to this checkpoint. So, and who Eren had no clue that this was happening. Yep. Eld's in command. Hide Eren, and Levi's like, got it. And Levi's like, what? They had a plan? We're going to take the female Titan alive. I mean, they can't kill her at this point. She's covered in nape. Mm-hmm. And then, oh, I like that. Eren looking at everyone. He's like, did you see that? We caught a Titan. Don't underestimate us, idiot. Now do you get it? And Eren's saying, yeah, God. What's so frustrating is that Eren is so easily, he's just like, he gets that hope so easily. And then when it's taken away, he takes it in the worst manner and just like falls into this despair over it. And it just like cements it's like he lets himself get hopeful. and then the worst scenarios happen to Aaron to where he doubts himself even more and more to the point where he doesn't want to trust anyone. I'm like Aaron doesn't catch a break as far as that goes. Whereas I feel like other characters in the series have moments where that faith and leadership is proven and it helps cement their views of it. So it's just, ugh. Oh, I want to see Erwin and Levi moments. We haven't had hardly any of them. All right. Okay. And then we see Levi and Erwin like lamenting the fact that people sacrifice their lives to getting them. We'll meet whoever's inside that neck. I just hope whoever it is hasn't pissed themselves. And it's Annie. Yep, looking like, because they're going to scream, right? Oh my gosh. Levi has like, you see how it makes him have like the coldest condescending look sometimes? It's great. Oh, a sudden visitor. Jean's horrific past will be revealed. Not a real preview. Oh my god, the tormenting curse of puberty. Jean, have you cleaned your room? Oh, lady, knock first. Oh my god, what has he got, a book? Oh, what does it say? Oh, Yixis. Oh, sexy. Oh no, Jean was reading porn in his room and his mom was like, have you cleaned your room? Get out, Mom. Oh my god. Oh my god. And we have like the knife on the ground. What does that one say? What does this one say? It says studies. Okay. And then he has like the mug and a little sword and all that. Oh my god. Oh, Jean. His sudden visitor, his sudden passed. Oh, is that all we got for that? Oh, man. So they made that a whole OVA about his mom visiting based on this one little thing. Oh, poor Jean. Oh my god. Okay, translation notes, page 189. In the original, the book was titled Okyanbio. The other book was Unonka. Go read the English titles again, then plug the real titles into the Japanese English dictionary. You don't get any more help. What? What? The book was titled Okyanbio and Unonka. Plug the real titles into an English-Japanese dictionary. What? I'm gonna look up what this is. Because I'm like, what? You don't get more clues? What the heck? What? Or studies, wait. Oh, okay, so it just looks like, okay, the only thing I can find on here, as my dog is like going crazy. The only thing I can find on here is that basically Jean was masturbating and the mom caught him. Okay, that was it. Okay, I was just waiting for something to come out being like, what else was there? But what I like about this volume is that there is a lot of setup with Aaron and Armin's characters. And this, I feel like Armin's conversation with Jean and Aaron's conversation with the Levi squad is setting up a foundation of how these two characters that are best friends view the ideas of the structure of society and their roles to play within that society very differently. And they come at it from very different ways. In that Armin understands the problems in the system inherently, but he chooses to have faith and move along with them despite that. And I feel like Armin kind of, in my mind, because I empathize more with Armin than I do Aaron, I feel like Armin comes to grips more with the benefits of that structure and is able to, as the story progresses, figure out how he can have that role within it and it work out. And wants to work through the difficulties of it, right? He wants to work through the difficulties of it and keep a structure in place. Whereas Aaron's like, let's just fuck the structure and just tear it all down. And Armin's like, no, let's keep it and work with it and make it better. And Aaron's just like, let's just like break. We can't be a wheel if it's broken, right? We don't have to break the wheel if there is no wheel. But Aaron it's so interesting to see how the characters that both Aaron and Armin interact with and the situations they're put in completely set the foundation for their views on these situations and how they are going to interact with others and how they themselves, they feel, will be in these situations later on. It's interesting, right? It's laying that foundation. And I'm excited now that I'm going back and rereading and seeing all these little moments being laid down as the foundation for things. It's going to be interesting to see how these characters evolve going back a second time and seeing how these actions are shaping who they are and their decisions later on. Because when you first watch the anime, we were talking about this in the Discord last night. When you first watch the anime, you know, Eren, he seems like just a shonen protagonist, and somebody commented like he seems kind of vanilla at first, and then by the time you get to season 4, you're like, holy cow, no, Eren like completely subverts the typical shonen protagonist trope. But honestly, rereading the manga, you see it so much early on. Like going back, it's always been there. Like Isayama, it's not a big character twist. Eren's always been like this. He just kind of reaches a breaking point and a moment where he has actually the power in his hand to do what he needs to do and what he wants to do, and he just goes with it. He chooses at the point at season 4 where Eren goes rogue and he leaves the group is the moment where it's like, it's the counterpoint to this. It's the counterpoint to Bite, where in this scenario, Eren has the choice to follow his friends, follow the Levi squad, or take matters into his own hands. And he chooses to follow his friends, and he ends up getting burned by that decision, which can happen in any decision you make. Levi points out, he's like, any decision you make is maybe or maybe not going to be the right decision. You don't know until you make it. You just don't. Maybe if he had turned into a Titan and fought Annie, things would have worked out. But you can't know that, right? You just have to go with something that you're going to regret the least. And Eren made a decision that he later regrets. And so then the counter to that is that at the meeting where they're in the hearing with the group, the Eldian group, he makes a choice to go rogue. He's like, nope, I'm going to take matters into my own hands and go from there. And whatever happens, happens. And again, what ends up happening is he loses Sasha in the process. But it's that path of least regrets. And I feel like that makes that grimace from Eren whenever Sasha dies all the more painful, because it's like in that moment, he chose to go on his own. He chose to make that decision, and still someone he loved died. And it's like, it kind of reinforces what Levi says, like, you don't know what the outcome's going to be. You just have to do the thing that will lead to the least regret. And it's just building on that, right? It's just building on it. So good. But yeah, I'm really excited. Next volume's going to be rough. Crushing Blow is one of my, it's one of the hardest things to watch. Like the death of the Levi squad and the aftermath with Eren is one of the hardest things to watch, like for the first part of this series. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So I'm very curious to know your thoughts down below. I hope you all enjoyed this reaction and discussion. I'm curious to know what y'all thought, but we'll see, right? We'll see. So in the meantime, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'll be back next week with more of the Attack on Titan manga. Bye!